What is going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video of my sports, Gematria. In this video, I'm going to go over the NBA games for Friday, June 18th, 2021. I'm going to show you both sides of each game, and it's going to be up to you to determine who you think will win based on the numbers. I encourage you to add additional information on top of this if needed for you to feel confident in your own pick. And if for some reason you're curious to know who I'm picking in these games, you have to join my Patreon. My picks are always in writing, underlined, and italicized. For more information on that, please read the description of this video. I wish you guys the best of luck in your picks today. Let's go ahead and get into the games. We're going to be looking at Game 6 for Sixers and Hawks, and Game 6 for the Jazz and the Clippers. Atlanta right now is leading the series 3-2. Clippers leading the series 3-2. Are either one of these going to force a Game 7? Is the question we're going to answer. Game 7 will be played on Sunday. So who is going to force that Sunday play? Both of them? None of them? I don't know. Let's take a look. On this side of the screen, I have what I call my daily numbers, date numerology, Gregorian, and the Hebrew calendar. This side of the screen is what I call my game numbers. So the away team up top, their coach's record, their season record, their head-to-head record, or excuse me, not their head-to-head record, their postseason record. In the middle here is the head-to-head record, all-time, postseason, and for the year. And then at the bottom here is the home team, their season record, their postseason record, their coach's record, his postseason record. Up top here is some game info. Game 6, Hawks can finish it off 4-2, or Sixers can force a Game 7, tie at 3-3. This is the 64th NBA playoff game. If there were to be a Game 7, I don't know what game it would be, just because I'm recording this before Game 6 of the Nets and Bucks. And depending on if this goes to a Game 7 or not, would determine if there will be a game on Saturday. And if there is no game on Saturday, this would be the 64th, the 65. Sunday would be Game 66 if there is no game on Saturday. If there is a game on Saturday, Bucks and Nets would be the 66th. And then it would either be the 67th and the 68th, depending on if one or two force a Game 7. Hopefully that made sense. Just kind of rambling here. All right, so Game 6 for the Sixers and Hawks. Hawks can go ahead and close this game out if they wanted them to, if they really wanted them to. It is a day with 65 date numerology on the Gregorian. The Sixers would end their season 6-5 for the playoffs this season, like 65. It's a day that leaves 196 left in the Gregorian year. Hawks would get their 196th all-time head-to-head win against the Sixers. And 65, if you spell it out, sums to 49. And Hawks would be getting their 49th win for the season to advance. It is a day with 29 date numerology on the Gregorian. Hawks would get their 29th home win to advance. It's the Sixers' 83rd game for the season. Hawks' 83rd game for the season. Hawks would advance 8-3, like 83 for the playoffs this season. It's a day with 97, or it's the 97th day of the Hebrew religious. 97 is the 25th prime number. Hawks coach, he would get his 25th postseason win. Sixers coach, he would sit on 97 postseason wins with the loss. And that would be all she wrote for the Sixers. Philadelphia 76ers. If you spell out their name, Philadelphia 76ers, and then you add in the 7 and the 6, it sums to 55 and 28. And so they can end their season 55-28 for a season record. It doesn't do it on here. Philadelphia, if I spell it correctly. Philadelphia 76ers. So this right here just shows the Philadelphia and the Ers. It doesn't attribute the 7 or the 6. But if you add 13, um, actually no, it'd be just the Sixers, not Philadelphia. It'd just be Sixers. If you add 13 to 42, it'd be 55. And then if you add 13 to 15, it'd be 28. So Sixers right here, this is just the 42, the 15, the 39, the 21 is just the E, the R, and the S. It doesn't attribute the 7 or the 6. But if you do 7 plus 6, okay, I reversed it there for some reason. If you do the 7 plus the 6 plus the E plus the R plus the S, and the 6 and the 7, it adds up to 55, adds up to 28. They would become 55-28 for a season record. The 76ers would be to end their season. Hopefully that made sense. Here, I'll do it on a calculator that most of you are more familiar with, if I have it. Yeah, here we go. 76ers. There you go. 55-28. It is the 273rd day on the Hebrew civil calendar, and this will be the Hawks' 372nd postseason game as a team. 372 is just a reflection of 273. What else? What else? I think that's about it. Hawks coach, he would get his 713th all-time win for his career. I just attribute that to as an anagram of 137, which is the 33rd prime number. I know that's a number that's that they like, or whoever it is, or whatever God's doing this, or whatever matrix maneuver rabbit hole you want to say that's going on doing this. But 33 shows up a lot. We know that. And then Sixers coach, he would sit on 1089 all time for his career with the loss. 1089 has a square root of 33. So that would be the Hawks. That would be them advancing to the next round. However, let's look at if Sixers were to force a Game 7. If Sixers were to force a Game 7, I think it's bad news for the Hawks, personally. And, you know, Hawks could pick up their 49th win, but at the same time, they could fall 4-9, like 49 head-to-head postseason against the Sixers. Today was 65 date numerology, 65, excuse me, sums to 49. And Sixers would get their 56th win for the season, which is basically just a reflection of 65. Taking a drink of water, sorry. Excuse me, don't mean to be all up in your ears. But Game 7 would be on Sunday, which would be June 20th. So 6/20 or 20/6, however you want to look at it. If Sixers win Game 6, they would get their 205th all-time head-to-head win against the Hawks, which could potentially set them up to get their 206th all-time head-to-head win against the Hawks in Game 7 on Sunday, which would be the 20th of June, 20/6, 206. It will be a day with 47 date numerology, which the Hawks do not want to see, because this is the 1 seed versus the 5 seed. 47 is the 15th prime number, 1 versus 5, like 15. And Hawks would be getting their 211th postseason loss as a team. 211 is the 47th prime number, so it can just trickle down. And then they would become 7-5 for the playoffs with the loss to end their season in the 75th NBA, 75th NBA season. They would continue to sit on 162 postseason wins. It would be a day with 67 date numerology. 67 sums to 162. which is basically just a reflection of 76, 76, 162, 67, 162, 76, 67 are identical in all four base ciphers. They're reflections of each other. They both sum to 162. If Hawks lose game 6, they would be sitting on 162 postseason wins, where they can continue to sit in game 7 as they get their 211th, the 47th prime number on a day with 47 and 67 date numerology, while facing the 76ers. And Atlanta Hawks sums to 76 as well. And what would be even more interesting is if we're counting the number of games, NBA playoff games, this is the 64th, this is the 65th. If there is a game 7 between Bucks and Nets, it'd be the 66th. And then it would put the 76ers as the 67th NBA playoff game on a day with 67 date numerology, which is just a reflection of the 76. Atlanta Hawks sums to 76. And we already know 67 and 76 are reflections of each other. And they're summed to the same numbers in all four base ciphers. And that number, the first one is the numbers 162. Atlanta Hawks would continue to sit on 162. It would be the 10th day of the 4th month on the Hebrew religious, the 99th day of the Hebrew religious year. Sixers coach would be getting his 99th postseason win as the Sixers become 10-4 head to head against the Hawks postseason. So I think Hawks really need to close it out in Game 6, because if not, there's some pretty good numbers here for games in Game 7 for the Sixers. Are there some numbers here for Hawks in Game 7? I'm sure I can find some. But right off the bat, that 47 is not good news, I don't think, because it's the 15th prime number. This is the 1 seed versus the 5 seed, like 15. I mean, they could get that to 11 just as easily. Just there's too much there for it, I would think. But I'm far from perfect. So if there is a game 7, Hawks would be trying to become 5-9 for the postseason, head to head, 9-5, 5-9. There is 95 date numerology on the Hebrew religious. They would be trying to get their 49th win to close it out. 67, anyone some to 49? No. Maybe trying to get that 196, the 14th triangular number. Or no, not 14 triangular. I think it says a square root of 14. I don't know. The 163, the 38th prime. I don't know. I really think their best shot is Game 6, honestly. But I'll assess it again if it gets to a Game 7. I'm not too sure who I'm going to pick as of right now, because I can see numbers on this day for the Hawks to go ahead and close it out with the 196, the 49, 83rd game, the 29, the 65, and then the 55-28. I showed you Sixers, 76ers sums to 55-28. I would think that would be a good shot for the Hawks if they were going to do it. But if not, if it gets forced to Game 7, there's some not so good numbers for them in Game 7. So hopefully this helps for now. I'm going to continue to look at this and run some scenarios myself. I suggest you guys do the same. Continue to look at it, run some scenarios. There's plenty of time till the game actually gets played, 24 hours minimum. So you have plenty of time to just look it over, think it over, add some more things, look at the coaches to and from birthday, maybe look at some players to and from birthday, and just try and figure out if they go to a Game 7 or not. I think there should be a Game 7 on Sunday between one of these two games, just because ad revenue for the NBA. I can't imagine this weekend not seeing any NBA games, either on Saturday or Sunday, just for ad revenue alone. So I would think one of these games is going to go to a Game 7. Maybe. I mean, I could be wrong, but it'd be good money. It'd be good business for the NBA, I would think. It'd be good for the television. So let's look at Jazz and Clippers. Are they going to go to a game 7? Or is the Clippers going to close it out here in game 6? Clippers have some good numbers to close it out here in game 6. And then we can look at some numbers for game 7. This is the 65th NBA playoff game. On a day with 65 date numerology. I don't think this is good news for the Jazz because they can end their season 6-5, like 65 for the playoffs this season. And the Clippers, they would become 30-13 at home with the win. 30-13 just has that 3-1-3 look to it. And 3-1-3 is the 65th prime number. 29 date numerology on the Gregorian. 29 sums to 121. Clippers can continue to sit on 121 all-time losses against the Jazz with the win. This beating the Jazz coach's 599th all-time game for his career. 599, the 109th prime number. 109, the 29th prime number. Jazz would get their 25th loss for the season on the 97th day of the Hebrew religious, 97 the 25th prime number, as Clippers get their 55th win for the season to advance. 55 sums to 108, and it is the 8th day of the 10th month on the Hebrew civil. 108. Clippers would get their 90th all-time head-to-head win against the Jazz. 90 sums to 75 and 30. This being the 75th NBA season. We just saw the Clippers sit on 75 postseason losses as they became 7-5, like 75 for the playoffs in Game 5. They can continue to sit on that 75 postseason with the win as they get their 90th all-time head-to-head win against Jazz. 90 sums to 75, this being the 75th NBA season. And then it also sums to 30. Clippers would be sitting on 30 losses for the season with the win as they get that 30th home win, which makes it look like that 3-1-3, the 65th prime. It's the Clippers' 85th game for the season. They can become 8-5 for the playoffs to advance this season. 8-5, like 85, as they get their 61st postseason win as a team. 61 sums to 85. So Clippers have some pretty good numbers just to close out Jazz, especially with the 65, it being the 65th game for the playoffs. I know the NBA playoff games have been following people's exits for the entire time, going back to, if I can even remember, there was quite a few of them. I know Grizzlies went out in the 38th playoff game, getting their 38th loss for the season. I think Wizards were sitting on 36 wins in the 36th NBA playoff when they went out. There was a couple more in the 40s. Some in the... Yeah, I mean, I got to go back and look at them. But this has been the 65 date numerology. Jazz can go 6-5 for the playoffs to end. It's tough for them. But let's look at for them if they're going to face a Game 7. Clippers, they can just get their 76th postseason loss as they become 7-6 for the playoffs. Just kind of syncs up. And we go to Game 7, which would be played on Sunday. It has that 67 date numerology. We already talked about this with the 76er game. And if there is a Game 7 for Saturday, it would be Sunday would be the 67th NBA playoff game. Maybe this is the Game 7 that's going to go, and they're going to come in with 76, 7-6 in the 67th NBA playoff game, 67 date numerology. I kind of like the Sixers and Hawks a little bit more because of the 47. But this is a possibility as well because there is 31 date numerology on the Gregorian for Sunday, and Clippers would be coming in with 31 losses for the season. So that lines up for it. What else? 5-4-4-5. Maybe Clippers have to fall 4-5 head-to-head against the Jazz before, and then on Sunday they become 5-5 with the win in Game 7 as they get their 55th win for the season. Maybe it has to go that way. Jazz would be getting their coach. He'd be getting his 257th all-time loss for his career, the 55th prime. So if Clippers do get their 55th win in Game 6 or in Game 7, the Jazz coach would be getting his 257th all-time loss, the 55th prime number. So technically that can hit on either 6 or 7, Game 6 or Game 7. But if Clippers lose Game 6, they would become 4-5, and then you have that extra potential 5-5 head-to-head between each other to end it as they get that 55 and 257 in Game 7. Uh, Game 6 is the 211th all-time, which is the 47th prime, so Game 7 would be the 212th. Game 7 has 47 date numerology, so it kind of misses it just a little bit, I guess, maybe. But it could be for Jazz getting their 122nd all-time head-to-head win against the Clippers. It'd be the 212, 122, just anagrams of each other. And it will be a day with 31 and 13 date numerology. Jazz would be coming in with 13 postseason head-to-head wins against the Clippers. So there's some numbers here that you can make a case for a Game 7. Jazz got to make it through Game 6 first though, and I don't know. I mean, I guess they could. 20 date numerology on the Gregorian for Game 6. Jazz coach can get his 20th postseason win for his career. Clippers would sit on 29 home wins with the loss on a day with 29 date numerology as well. It is the 169th day of the Gregorian, which has a square root of 13. 13 times 13 sums to 169, and that's how Jazz can get that 13th postseason all-time head-to-head win against the Clippers. What else? 59, getting their 59th win. I think 59 sums to 108. Yeah, 59 sums to 108. 8th day of the 10th month on the Hebrew. Sums to 54, 45. How they could potentially, someone's going to go 5-4, 4-5 against the other. Could be the Jazz as they pick up their 59th. But the same thing goes for the Clippers. 55 also sums to 108. And then also I think 54, 45. Yeah, so they both sum to the same thing. 55 and 59 are identical in all four base ciphers, so it goes either way on that one. Alright, well, hopefully this helps. Hopefully got some good information out of this. Hopefully it builds on your own decode. And I wish you guys the best of luck. I hope you win your picks and win as much money as you want. I really appreciate you watching. Thanks.